packed house at both Fremont and Attica. But amidst all the excitement, there was a stark reminder of just how dangerous this sport can be, with an accident at the Doty that resulted in one driver being airlifted. It really drives home the point. One wrong move at the wrong time, and things can get incredibly serious. I'm Fritz, joined by Nathan Johns, and we're telling you to strap in tight because this isn't just racing. This is Switchin Grooves. What's going on, Nathan?
Not much, Russ. How are you?
Oh, it's been a wild, wild week for me, buddy. We had the Kubota High Limit Series of Fremont after going to work all day and then staying up till midnight, 1 o'clock. Had to wait in Kyle Larson's line to get a couple of cars signed, and then
Sure,
go
you
home.
did. Sure, you had to wait.
Go home and go to bed and get up after about 3 hours of sleep and do it all over again last night for the Brad Doty Classic at Attica, and waiting Kyle's line again. So we had 2 more cars to get signed. So now all of the diecast is signed. So
I see.
But actually, we were the first ones in line. Like, as soon as the checkered flag flew, it's like, okay, we don't even need to. I can watch all the interviews online to get the information I need. So.
That's funny.
But man, it's been wild. But
trust me, you don't have to remind me. It's wedding week here.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say nothing.
Thanks.
I done been in that situation once, man. Like,
I totally understand. It's exciting. We're getting excited. A little nervous still. But we're excited. Still watching the weather. But just as much chaos out there as what we had out here, apparently, for NASCAR.
Oh yeah, man. It's been crazy, but
oh yeah, let's hear about it, Russ. Let's hear about the dirt stuff.
All right, so man, oh man, what are we gonna do here? All right, well, let's dive into the absolute madness that it has. It's been here with the Kubota High Limit Series, starting with the Kubota High Limit Series at Fremont on Monday night. So Kubota was here for the midweek money series, and it was 45 cars were on hand, including an outlaw team burning up a freebie with Cole Macedo behind the wheel, the 2KC.
I heard that was a good race,
and let me tell you, it was a messy night, especially in the heat. So the first heat felt like it would never end. Multiple incidents. Corey Day was docked for jumping the start, and it took like 17 minutes to complete an 8-lap heat race, where laps here normally take about 13 seconds.
That's insane.
So, I mean, it was kind of a long night, but we had incidents and other heats, and another start called back in heat 3 where TJ Michael, the Michael call was actually iffy, and it took nearly a full lap before the caution even came out. And I don't understand that. I know that's not Fremont Speedway's call. That's actually High Limit's call. So people that want to sit there and rag on Fremont Speedway, it's not their call. They don't run the show. That was actually High Limit. So, but after getting docked a row, Michael actually would have been fine, but he slowly slipped back through the heat, and his night went really, really sideways. and he actually spun into the infield after him and Cap Henry made contact. He actually came up the track and tagged the side of Cap Henry, ended up spinning in the infield. But I know a lot of people were yelling at Cap for that, but that wasn't nobody's fault. I mean, he's just kind of racing. But James McFadden actually made his high limit return, and it didn't go well for him. For first lap on his heat race, he flipped over. So
that's rough.
He had to go to the C main, and Tanner Holmes actually made the trip out here from California. He had to go to the C main. He didn't transfer, and he didn't transfer from the C main. Casey Kane, Justin Peck, Aaron Reitzel, all needed provisionals just to start the feature. So the best Reitzel could do in the A main was charged from 25th to 14th, which was actually his first. It was actually his first high limit finish outside the top 10 in 13 races. So
wow,
going all the way back to Tri-City in May. So with Brad
that's
Sweet
crazy.
With Brad Sweet ending up in the top 5, Reitzel is now back to 3rd and 23 points behind. With how tight things are at the top, and we're likely to see a lot more movement in the top 5 in the coming weeks. And there are only 58 points separating the top 5. So that's actually pretty close for sprint car racing with all the different things they get points for. So that's really good. Consistency pays. But Monday night's win actually went to Cole Macedo, leading all 35 laps from the pole. And it was his first career high limit win and his first sprint car win with a national tour. He's still seeking that elusive for World of Outlaws win, but let's get down to business here. Macedo is a past Fremont track champion, so it's definitely a place that he knows very well, and he should have finished where he should have finished up there and even won like he did. So, but the crazy part is, saying that people saying that the Outlaws are better than high limit because the driver who's 11th in outlaw points just beat them, or hey, who cares? There's room for both of these series, and I think it's a good thing. I like both. I don't like one more than the other. I support both. I don't support one more than the other. But things actually got wild for Macedo right after he crossed the finish line. He ran up on the right rear of Chris Andrews, who was a lap car, literally just past the flag stand, and flipped the car.
I saw the highlights of that. That was the most bizarre finish I think I've ever seen.
Oh man, it was nuts.
At least in a sprint car race, that's the wildest finish I've seen in a while.
Well, he jumped the right rear of Andrews' car, and Macedo said that he just smashed on the brake pedal, and I don't know about that. I mean, I don't even know if he knew that Cole was right there, but Chris is that guy that once he takes the checkered flag, because I've seen him race. He races here every week. So once he takes the checker, he gets his car slowed down and takes his cool down lap and gets off the track. I mean, he doesn't keep running around at full speed like a lot of guys do, and put more wear and tear on his engine.
I did catch this in his post-race interview. He said something along the lines of that the other guy stomped on the brakes, but he didn't even know that he took the checkered flag.
That's what I was getting to.
So I was a little surprised. I was like, wait a minute, how does that work? He stomped on the brakes, but you didn't even know you won the race.
So Macedo told Tony Laporta after, because Laporta went right over to the crash scene and did a quick little interview, but he told Laporta that he didn't even realize the race was over, and he thought he had just lost the race. That's what he said. He goes, man, I thought I just lost the race there, but he said it was pretty crazy to watch him set the car down on the scales with a wrecker to clear post-race tech and then tow it to victory lane. But make no mistake, it was a huge win for Macedo. and everyone was in the house, including his brother, Carson, and a lot of the JJR crew, including crew chief Philip Dietz and Kyle Larson and Tyler Courtney rounded out the podium. But also there was, the Linders and people that have helped him along the way. Chris or Jay Kaiser. He ran for Jay Kaiser here for a little while. The Linders helped get him into the industry on this side of the country, and they did the same thing with Carson and Buddy Kofoid, and all those people were there. The only ones that weren't there, he said, that he was sad for, because his parents wasn't there. So unfortunate, but at least I got to see it, and he got it in. And it was crazy because he just goes, "Hey, we won a effing national race." So, hey, but everybody's like, "Oh, you need to watch your language," and then okay, it's not like they're sitting there throwing it around every other word. I understand that, and let the guys show their character. That's what makes them who they are, and that's the problem with sports these days. Not just racing, but all sports. These people cannot show their character, and the character is what makes them who they are, and lets us know whether we want to like them or not just like them for their stats. There's a lot of guys that have a lot of very high stats that I don't like because of their personality. So, I mean, let them be who they are. It is what it is. But, besides leading overall, Brad Sweet's top 5 run also lets him now take control of the midweek championship, as well as the regular season championship. High Limit is actually back to action tonight, right now at Eldora, for the Double Down Duels, and tomorrow for the Joker's Jackpot. And Cole Macedo's first ever national touring victory was actually certainly a night he'll never forget, though, and for all the right reasons. He deserves it, man. I can't imagine what he's feeling, dude. He's still on a high a couple of days later, just from being so excited. But it'll be one he'll never forget, for all the right reasons, and actually maybe one little small one. After flipping the car there, after leading all 35 laps, at least he led all 35 laps and finished the race, and then flipped the car. I think PPM did that earlier this year, didn't he? But,
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
In the 71 car, I believe. But hey, more power to him. In the most unique whiskey buyer's victory lane ever, Macedo's 2C was actually towed to the front stretch after needing a hook at the scales, and it was his first Kubota High Limit racing victory. We've talked about that, but it was just, man, it was wild. I loved it, dude. I wish we could see more races like this, but I'm going to tell you what, between Fremont Speedway and Attica Raceway Park, both nights, I don't think I have ever seen such a packed facility. Both of these facilities were absolutely packed to the gills. And I've been going to these places my entire life, and I don't think I've ever seen so many people at either place. And it was amazing to be able to pack the stands that much. It was great to see. And we haven't seen something like that in a very long time. So, congratulations to the series, the teams, the tracks, for being able to bring the crowd in and, give us a great show. And all in all, they were great shows besides any of the calamity. I mean, either way, the racing was good. And the Brad Doty Classic did not disappoint, and we'll get to that. But behind Macedo's one-man thrill show was Kyle Larson with a runner-up finish and his first trip to Fremont Speedway since 2012. Behind him, Tyler Courtney rounded out the podium with the last lap pass to gain a critical 4 points on Brad Sweet in the championship chase. And Cole Macedo picked up that big victory. And I'll tell you what, I still can't get over it. But he's usually a regular with the Outlaws. He used up that freebie so he could come race on Monday night. And for some reason, all my notes keep repeating.
Oh, no.
That's all right. We'll go with it. But once it actually gets to where I needed to go.
Don't worry, everybody. I'm still here. I was having technical difficulties.
I figured you needed to log off for a second.
No, I was having technical difficulties with my camera.
So getting back to the race, the clean sweep was actually far from easy, as Macedo actually he had to withstand some challenges from Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson early on, but once they got out of traffic when caution started coming, I mean, he was just gone. Kyle and Brad needed that traffic to be able to catch up to him and pass him, and it wasn't going to happen as long as he was out in clean air. But later on, Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson battled for second, third. Kyle ended up taking the runner-up position and was on Macedo's back bumper for a restart with 10 laps to go, but it wasn't enough. Macedo was actually up for the challenge throughout the 35-lap affair, driving through lap traffic and minimizing mistakes while others actually faltered behind him. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys jumping the cushion and a lot of guys trying to take the wrong line around lap cars. Just a lot of mistakes, and Cole didn't make very many of them, if any. So, in what might be the most memorable feature win or finish in recent history, it's unbelievable. So, I just can't get over that. But moving on, I will move down to my Outlaws. So last night was one of those race nights that reminds you just how dangerous sprint car racing really is. And I don't know about you, but it makes me have a bit of a, on the
realization moment.
On the fence opinion about, is it safe enough or do we need to improve it even more? But when the race is good, but you see guys get in really nasty accidents like last night. It's just a big reminder of how it can actually suck at times.
Definitely a scary moment.
Kalib Henry got into the front stretch catch fence last night at Attica in the World of Outlaws B main after battling Brady Bacon for the final transfer spot. And they were actually coming to the checkered. They came together, and that was that. But like I said in the opening, one wrong move at one wrong time, and it can be disastrous. Brady Bacon actually threw a huge slide job going into 3 and 4 for the last time after Kalib rode around him on the outside of turn 4 the lap before that, and he was just, man, he was flying. But I mean, Bacon he wasn't even far enough ahead. I'm not trying to sit here and blame Bacon. It's just racing, but he should have probably just took where he was going to finish and been done with it. But he tried to make a bonsai move and it didn't work. Sliding up into Kalib Henry, and Henry's left rear jumped over his right rear because he came up. You know how they come up, and here's the tires, and that was that. Henry's car actually hit it tipped sideways after it hit the guardrail, and then the momentum carried it into the catch fence. and right at the top of the roll cage, it hit just boom. I mean, we were sitting right in front of where it happened at. We were sitting right there.
It
And
looked like
just
it hit pretty square, like
I
flat against the top.
it did, and it bent the pole a little bit. I mean, it didn't bend it enough where we had to shut the racing down and fix it, but
Yeah.
it bent the post a little bit. And Nathan, I can still hear the thud right now while I'm thinking about it. Just that sudden stop and that thud of that stop, dude. I can only
It's an
imagine.
eerie sound almost.
But the program was delayed for over an hour. I think it was more of almost 2 hours. And it was anywhere between an hour and a half and two. But he was while they were getting him out of the car, and they actually made the decision to call in the life flight and fly him to Toledo for medical care. Now, excuse me. Now, in saying that, he was alert. Before they took him out of the car, it took a few minutes for him to wake up. Before they took him out, though, he was alert. He had feeling in all of his extremities, and he was talking to officials, and he even signaled to the crowd while they were placing him in the ambulance by lifting his arm with a thumbs up. So that was a good thing to see. And this morning at 1:15 a.m., someone had posted on Kalib Henry Racing social media page that Kalib's preliminary scans have come back clear. At this time, there is no indication of any further head, neck, or back injuries. More assessment will be completed when final test results are received and evaluated. Further updates will be provided when available. Kalib's family, team, and friends have seen the messages and outpouring of support. While we cannot respond to everyone, we are incredibly grateful for everyone's thoughts and prayers during this time. That's certainly good news to hear, and hopefully things continue to progress. So, when you're a sprint car fan, it's one thing that you don't want to see. I don't ever want to see stuff like that. I know so many people that tell me that, like, that's why they go to the races, is to see stuff like that. But that's not exciting to me. It adds a little split second of entertainment factor to the sport of racing, and it costs a lot of money. It can cost people their careers. It can cost them their lives.
You go for the excitement, but not that level of excitement.
I get more excitement of watching guys battle hard and clean.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Sliding each other back and forth cleanly, and like the feature after Kalib's crash, like the feature, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But
Chaotic battles, not chaotic crashes.
I'm sure I've said that before, but it's just what it is. The track and safety workers don't get enough credit, though. I'll tell you what. They were on the crash scene before his car even came to a complete stop. And they had no idea what they were going to find, but they did one heck of a job. And I'll tell you what, a huge thank you to Attica Raceway Park's safety team and the World of Outlaws safety team. And they did everything right yesterday. And even the spot they were going to land the helicopter for transporting Kalib, it's a stone horse track around the outside of the dirt track. And someone even thought enough to water that area down so it wasn't blowing dust all over the place. I mean, they thought of everything, and they did everything right. So congrats to them for doing a great job, and thank you to them for doing that. And before I go on, I'm also going to say thank you to the drivers. Nathan and I, we both love this sport of racing in general, whether it's NASCAR, sprint cars, I mean, you name it. But we want to thank you for what you do because you put your lives on the line to give us some great entertainment. And we really appreciate that. So thanks again, drivers. Keep up the great work. So, and I know some people were upset this past weekend with Justin Whittall's actions at Port Royal. He blew a tire late while leading and let his emotions get the best of him, and he was out of the car onto the track with other cars still circulating. But as we saw last night, sprint car racing is dangerous enough without needing to add to it. So people just need to use their heads. I'm sorry to say that, but Caleb was actually transported via helicopter to Toledo, a hospital in Toledo, Ohio. And his family did post another update early this morning. I believe it was around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, somewhere in there, that they are still waiting to get, or they were still waiting at the time to get MRIs done and speak with doctors. And at that point, though, Caleb was just resting, but he is okay. So thank God for that.
I saw it was something along the lines of in his lower back is where the majority of the pain is.
Yeah, and I mean, I can imagine the seatbelts being around your shoulders and then all that momentum because you hit head on or the
It's
top
like a
of the
spring.
yeah, and oh my goodness, man, it was absolutely insane. But
Just watching some of the highlights from that crash, the way the wing kind of fell off the car, you knew it was a very sudden and square impact because it didn't just shred the wing. It kind of compressed it into like a pancake and then it just fell off the top of the car. That's how hard he hit and how square, which is crazy to me.
But after Henry's crash, though, the show did go on, and we ended up with a wild feature where it kind of felt like nobody wanted to win it. Kyle Larson started on the pole, but he ended up only leading a couple of laps and getting by Buddy Kofoid in traffic at one point. He actually backed up to finish fifth on the night. Buddy Kofoid was actually probably the best car out there and led the most laps, but a little mistake right in front of us too, of just coming over the edge of turn 4, made him spin out while battling with Sheldon Haudenschild, and it took him out of the lead. So he did end up coming back to finish second, though. So good job to him. The spin for Kofoid paved the way for Sheldon to lead, but the 17 also made a few mistakes, and a few laps later, he got over the cushion himself and threw it all away. And just simple as that. So Carson Macedo actually capitalized on that, taking the lead for the final 4 laps to grab the win in the Brad Doty Classic. That's actually his first Brad Doty win. So congratulations to him. That's Outlaw win number 6 for the season for him, and his second in the past 3 races. Donnie Schatz actually made a big charge from 16th to 3rd, and hat tip as well to Tanner Holmes, who went 14th to 7th, which was his first Outlaw top 10 since 2023. His last came at Devil's Bowl when he was driving the Shark 1A machine. And that's actually got to be a nice boost for him, driving all the way out here and making it happen with a family-owned car in a tough Ohio couple of nights. He was at Fremont too. So, man, I just can't believe it. But, Macedo scored a $15,000 payday for his first Brad Doty win, which is actually wrong. It was $12,000 to win. I don't know why the heck I wrote 15. So he scored a $12,000 to win payday for first Brad Doty Classic victory. And there's an old saying in the early days of the Brad Doty Classic: the driver leading at lap 30 did not win the race. Well, that held true last night. So, Buddy Kofoid led the first 7 laps, and Kyle Larson led laps 8 and 9, and Kofoid took it back. Oh, and then Colfoyd was actually the first driver to fall victim to the turn 4 cushion on lap 31 because there was no more cushion left. That's why the guys kept going over the edge. I mean, coming into 3, there was a little bit of a cushion left, but coming out of 4, it was just gone. There was nothing left up there, and they were literally riding at the tip of that rim, and one false move and you were going around. So, and it happened to a couple of them. You know, no harm, no foul. They didn't do anything on purpose, but it is what it is. So, oh man. But I'll tell you what, man. You name it, and it likely happened at the 2025 Ohio Logistics Brad Doty Classic, dude. I mean, it's just crazy. I can't believe it. But Macedo, well, what did he say? Oh, I really felt like I was running pretty hard on the top, as hard as I could, and maybe even overdriving it. But Sheldon was driving like 4 times harder than me. So I actually backed it down thinking maybe something would happen. He almost got over the edge one time in turns 1 and 2, and then he ended up going over the curb. And I mean, it was no fault of his own. He was just doing a great job. Just really tricky and treacherous and easy to get over. It was kind of like marbly, really, and that's why guys were able to slide and almost clear you. Hats off to Philip Dietz, Adam Zimmerman, and Robbie McQuinn. We changed a few things tonight that we thought might be a little bit better, and I think it definitely seemed to be really good here. I was able to get my wing back and get squeezed back in the track late in the race, and hats off to them. Just a cool race to win. So, like I said, that was actually his 6th of the year, and man, he's just doing a hell of a job. So, what was this? He became the 26th different winner of the Brad Doty Classic since the event first began in 1989, joining Tyler Walker, Jason Myers, Kyle Larson as the 4th Californian to come out on top. He won at Attica with Fast in 2017 and the All-Star Circuit of Champions in 2018, but Tuesday was his first at the third mile with the greatest show on dirt. So, runner-up spot went Cole Foyd after he led the most laps. And, I think, who the hell got third? I don't even remember. Donnie Schatz got
I didn't
third.
watch it, so I don't even know.
No. I had it in my head and I lost it. But no, Donnie Schatz got third after a remarkable charge to the front. He's actually a 10-time series champion, so good job to him. And I think I'm pretty much done. I mean, high limit's on right now, so they were actually under a rain delay for a while. Apparently they got it back going again, but
That's a good thing.
But we'll see who's going to win the double down duels tonight and the Joker's jackpot tomorrow. And I actually got a new, cool, really badass looking wing panel for the new studio when it gets built.
Cool.
And it's the Joker's jackpot logo for this year with the number 25 on it. It's actually really badass looking. I'll show it.
That's pretty cool. I know I have a few of my buddies who are actually racing there this weekend.
I probably spent a small fortune on wing panels the past 2 nights, but they're cool to put in your shop or your studio, whatever. I really like them. They're neat, and they're a lot less expensive than die cast. So,
I know I have a friend of mine who's racing there tonight, so I don't know if he'll ever see it, but good luck tonight, Jeremy Weaver. I don't know how he did. I haven't even looked yet to see where he is running at, but I know that he was supposedly there this weekend.
But looking ahead, all the attention now shifts to Eldora for the next 4 days. 3 down to 3 now. Some of this I wrote the other. So, Wednesday and Thursday, like we said, are Kubota high limit nights, and Friday and Saturday are the World of Outlaws Kings Royal nights. The Outlaw guys will obviously be burning 2 freebies to race tonight and tomorrow. And to be honest, there really wasn't any high limit presence at Attica last night. I mean, Larson was there, but he was he's not a series full timer. And Tanner Thorson was the only high roller in attendance, with everyone else actually choosing to skip the Doty and focus on Eldora. So
That's interesting.
I hated to see that, but they have their reasons, and you got to respect that. So, my 3 key takeaways this week. Well, the Macedo dominance. The Macedo brothers, Cole and Carson, showcased incredible skill and consistency, securing major wins for their respective tours and demonstrating the mastery of these demanding tracks. 2, well, safety first, always. Kalib Henry's scary incident at Attica served as a stark and crucial reminder of the inherent dangers of sprint car racing, and highlighted the invaluable, selfless work of all the safety crews. And 3, the road to the King's Royal. With High Limit and World of Outlaws action heating up, especially with the upcoming King's Royal this weekend, the championship battles are tighter than ever, promising thrilling racing ahead. So, with that said, I'll hand it over to you, Nathan, and you can tell us about the NASCAR drama going on.
Well, there's all kinds of drama in the NASCAR world currently. For anybody who's been living underneath a rock, NASCAR 2311 and Front Row Motorsports have been at war over the charter agreement. And now, as a bunch of people have already seen, whoever hasn't seen yet, NASCAR is officially at the point where the injunction was overruled, and NASCAR is now able to essentially take 2311 and Front Row Motorsports charters and sell them, which is a big fear for those two teams. Currently, that would result in they would not get the same amount of money that the teams who are on the charter agreement would get, and they are not guaranteed a spot in the starting lineup for the races, which currently, with them going to Dover this week, it's not very likely that they would miss the field. But if there's more than 20 or more than 40 cars, it is very likely that one of the 2311 cars, if they do not qualify high enough, would essentially miss the race.
Isn't it possible? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Isn't it possible that they have to pay some of the money back that they've been paid as
that was the other thing. I believe we're on race 10 or not race 10. We're almost halfway through the season. I think we're past it by quite a ways. I forgot to count what week we're in currently. I think we're in week 20. But that would mean they would have to pay all of the money they got from the charter agreement from this past Sunday all the way back to the beginning of the season. They would have to pay back, which honestly feels like a bigger penalty than not getting your charters, because they have to pay everything from Sonoma, as far as I know, back to at least the Daytona 500, if not the Clash. But I don't think the Clash is included in that list. So they might get lucky and not have to do the Clash, because I think it's just an exhibition race. But that would mean Daytona all the way to Sonoma, which is this past week. This week they're in Dover. I haven't seen any reports yet that they are going to have to race without charters this week, but it is possible that they will have their charters revoked and they are going to have to race without charters. So definitely some drama in that camp. I think it's going to affect Front Row more than 2311, but still that is a huge, story going on in the NASCAR community currently.
And I saw Eric Eastep make a good point on his show about, NASCAR is already pointed out that they have interest in these charters being bought from them. So that's they need to at least have an injunction saying that if they do take them back, they cannot sell them until the lawsuit is final and over with, because it's
from what I understand, Monday they filed for another preliminary injunction and a temporary restraining order, which is kind of interesting that they're still trying to fight this. At some point, somebody is going to run out of patience or run out of funding to do this, I would think. I feel like the longer they dig this hole, the worse it's going to get. But at the same time, like you said, Eric made a very good point. They're so far along. Why give up now? So I do agree that is a very valid point. They've been fighting this for so long. It doesn't make any sense to just quit now. But it's definitely not going to. It's definitely not going well for the NASCAR teams versus NASCAR, which like they've said before, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't make your cake and eat it too. It just doesn't work like that. Which they're not wrong. I agree with some of the facts, but at the same time, you're saying this so you can get this. It's not really trying to fight anything. You're just trying to get what you want out of it.
And this, in my opinion, is the entire reason that this charter system just needs to disappear. It's just completely ridiculous. NASCAR doesn't make any money off of the charter system unless they have charters that they can, they have revoked or have any sitting in the back burner and they can sell them to the
Well,
team.
that's the next thing is they're looking to buy one. As there was talk at one point, NASCAR wanted to have their own charter, which is, for example, it's like Roger Goodell owning a team.
That was actually in this new charter agreement that was supposed to be signed at 2311 and Front Row are fighting because NASCAR didn't make any money when they started the charter system because they gave them to all the teams for nothing. So now they're seeing what these are actually going for. This is just my opinion, but they're seeing what these things are actually going for. They're getting upwards of 50 million plus. And they're like, oh, hell, we want in on this. We want some more money.
Yes.
So even though they take the majority of the money as it is, and this is what's killing NASCAR, man, is the greed of NASCAR themselves. I'm sorry, but that's exactly, in my opinion, that's exactly what's killing NASCAR. It's not that the fact that they keep changing the car around, which that doesn't help any, but the main thing,
no, it doesn't.
The main thing killing NASCAR is the corporate greed, and they can watch this show and they could get pissed at me all they want. I really don't care. I'll just stick to dirt track racing. It doesn't bother me a bit. But I mean, they don't give us anything for talking about them. So I'm going to. I think
the only thing that really revives NASCAR is the amount of chaos we saw at the road courses, which I won't lie, road courses have been kind of disappointing the last few years. Now that SVG has come back in, it's become a little bit more of a snooze fest because you can almost guarantee who's going to win. But I will say this one had way more tempers flaring than I was prepared for. To start off the whole thing, we had Ryan Blaney take an excursion off the we're going to call it off the passenger side of Chris Buescher's car. And I saw a meme this week and I couldn't help laugh. If anybody has seen the Cars movie, when Lightning McQueen goes launching off the corner while he's learning how to race, and they go, "Is that singing like? Is that driving like a Cadillac or stinging like a Beamer?" And he's off in the cactuses. Somebody decided they're going to take Blaney and replace Lightning McQueen with Blaney, and it might have been the funniest meme I've ever seen. But it literally looked like, how Ryan Blaney ended up. Is he ended up kind of high centered on the hillside at the bottom of turn 2 at Sonoma. And it was actually kind of comical. Whoever created that, I got to give you credit. That might have been the funniest thing I've ever seen. But on top of all that, there was some sort of, I guess, altercation between Chris Buescher and Ty Gibbs. And this is where I draw the line. I can understand on-track contact. But when you come down pit road, and I understand NASCAR said no, it was just a racing deal. When you come down pit road and there is visible evidence where you come through somebody's pit stop, and it looks completely different than their stop, and you take a swipe at their pit crew, That's where I think NASCAR should draw the line. And Eric posted a photo from the number six's pit stall, which it wasn't even Chris Buescher's crew that Ty Gibbs went after. It was Brad Keselowski, and Brad Keselowski and Ty Gibbs are, side by side on pit road when it comes to pit stalls. When you cross over the first pit stop, when you are on one side of the orange line prior to the incident, and the very next pit stop after the incident, you come down, and it wasn't like he drove through too many boxes, but he literally aimed for the front tire carrier of the 6 car. There's a visible difference on where you enter the box that aims more towards the pit crew members than your own pit box. There should be some sort of intent there that should be looked at, because that is uncalled for. I mean, it clipped the 6 crews front tire carrier. It's uncalled for, and NASCAR just claiming it is a racing incident is essentially turning a blind eye to something way, way, way more important. And it's not like, Ty Gibbs has a very good track history when it comes to losing his cool and, essentially getting away with it. I remind you, Martinsville, the year that he won the Xfinity Championship, just drove through his teammate to win the race. Now, granted, doesn't look a whole lot different than the Austin Dillon, Joey Logano incident. But, NASCAR is exactly what it is. Inconsistent. We found another reason, I guess. The only consistency that I have seen in the last few weeks is SVG is an absolute animal when it comes to road courses. He won at Mexico. He won at Chicago for the second time. He's now won 3 of the last 4 road courses from the pole, which is impressive as it is. He's now tied Jeff Gordon for that record. And we still have, I believe, 2 more road courses left this year. We have Watkins Glen, which might be the only thing that ends his streak. But also, with him winning 3 road courses, he's now sitting, I believe it's 4th in the playoff standings, which, and I'll make my bold prediction now, he is a very big fan of Darlington. If we get SVG through the first round of the playoffs with a good Darlington finish, we may be looking at an SVG, Elite 8, playoff round. Like, it's almost scary to think that SVG is currently 3rd in points, not 4th, 3rd in points. The only people who are ahead of him are Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin, or should I say Hacklin. I still rest my opinion on that one. But the fact that a road course ringer is 3rd in the playoff points and has a legitimate chance at, increasing his playoff spots. He's really not that good on ovals. He's getting better, but he's not really that good. Does show a flaw in NASCAR's playoffs. Now, granted, they did take away, you have to be 30th or higher in points, so I can understand that one. But, we only have, 1 more road course before the playoffs. If SVG can win at the Roval, and Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson do not win another race the rest of the year, we now have a road course ringer as the number 1 seed entering playoffs. If we don't have any more repeat winners the rest of the year, except for SVG at Watkins Glen, this might be the most historic run Trackhouse has ever had. I mean, they've already announced that Daniel Suarez will not be returning in 2026, and supposedly they're going to bring Connor Zilic up. I can only imagine the star power they're going to have when they bring up Connor Zilic, who basically is the only person who could beat SVG Xfinity race, which is insane to me that they're going to have 2 of the best road course racers on the same team next year. If that's who they bring up. They haven't officially announced it as far as I know. But just absolute insanity that, SVG could realistically make a deep playoff run in his rookie year. I mean, it's almost baffling to me to think that, somebody who's only ran, I think, 6 races last year, most of them were road courses, I think, maybe a few, oval tracks. Really wasn't that good, but, it's something. It's definitely interesting. And of course, they're still talking about, having more road courses next year, which is, I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
The only person who has been able to beat SVG at a road course is Christopher Bell, and he went on his 3-race win streak earlier this year. I don't think he's won a race since.
Well, didn't Bowman win last year? Or are you talking this year only? I'm
talking this year. The only person who will have beaten SVG this year on a road course is Christopher Bell, and he has only won 3 races, and it was the second 3 races in the year. Like, it's just insane to me that, we have Circuit of the Americas, you got Mexico, Chicago, Sonoma. Then you have Watkins Glen and the Roval. And supposedly they're going to add another road course somewhere. I haven't exactly figured out which one that might be. I don't think it's going to be the Long Beach circuit, because they did announce that they renewed the Clash for Bowman Gray, which I'm not going this year, but it's definitely excited. I'm definitely excited about that one being renewed. I'm hoping to see a little bit more chaos, but it was definitely good chaos when we went.
Have we heard anything about Chicago or what?
They're in talks of next year. I haven't heard anything confirmed. I guarantee they aren't gonna make any announcements until at least September, which doesn't surprise me. But it is definitely interesting. I kind of want to see NASCAR go to Lime Rock. Although I wasn't a big fan of the truck race there, it seemed a little, lackluster. But it wouldn't be bad to have something spicy. I mean, granted, we had Rockingham and Xfinity and truck race, and the moment it ended, it went up for sale. So I'm not going to comment on what the schedule will be for next year because, like I said, inconsistencies are very common in NASCAR.
The one thing I'd like to see, I would love to see the Prelude to the Dream come back.
Honestly, I would not be against that, but I would like to see it at a different track, because I know that obviously they probably won't go back to Eldora. But I do think, and this is just my opinion, with Ryan Blaney's family owning Sharon, wouldn't be a bad idea to have them, maybe come run the Prelude to the Dream. Maybe at Sharon. Yeah, granted, it is close to me. But, what other dirt tracks do we know? I mean, I can't see them running it at Charlotte. If they did, that'd be crazy.
Knoxville.
But Knoxville will be one, although hopefully they run that. If they're going to run Prelude to the Dream, we can't run it during Fox's broadcast, because we know darn well they're going to miss the camera shots.
I'll tell you what.
I will rag on them until the day I die, because that is absolute, BS. That you miss a truck roll completely over. No comments on, the broadcast at all. Just, we had a truck roll over. Nobody said anything. There was no camera views of it. It all came from the stands. Personally, I don't even think I'd like Knoxville to run the Prelude to the Dream, because you really, the cars don't get that fast. They weren't going that fast on dirt with the trucks. I kind of want to see somewhere where we can be throwing sliders and whatnot. Well, I mean, Bristol was cool, but
but the Prelude was actually late.
The Prelude was good. Like, I thought that was a great race.
It was NASCAR drivers getting into late models on the dirt. It wasn't using the NASCARs like they did at Bristol.
I know, yeah.
And
honestly, and I hate saying this because I know the All-Star race is huge. I kind of want to see an exhibition race in the middle of the season that is not the All-Star race. I mean, I understand the in-season tournament, which I have more on that one later, which is comical to me. But I would love to see, some sort of just midweek race. We get the All-Star race on Saturday. I'd love to see the Prelude to Dream be on, maybe on Prime. Prime has that one race, and then they go into the Coke 600. But I would love to see, maybe the Prelude to the Dream happen at, Charlotte, but have them, late models. Now, granted, I don't think the teams will be able to, provide the late models, but I also don't think there's enough late model drivers down there to provide enough cars for it. It would be kind of cool, but you kind of got to go to where all the late model teams are. And then you have to decide, is it going to be Ward Outlaws? Is it going to be Lucas that's going to, provide the cars? I don't know if there's enough cars out there to really, do it. But it'd be kind of cool to see someone like that. And even if they do run the next gen cars, you got to get a track where they can actually maneuver. Like I liked Bristol, was a little too banked for my liking. I'd like it to see even a little flatter. Like not Knoxville flat, but at the same time, Bristol's banking was a little too much for me, I think. Like even Charlotte banking where you got progressive banking almost.
Take them down to Volusia.
Honestly, that would be kind of interesting. Just because that track is not round. So I do think that will be a good track. It'd be interesting because it's got like a D shape to it. So I think that'd be kind of interesting.
Take them to Lucas Oil Speedway. That's a great facility. That
one would be interesting. Is I think that would be a good race. The only thing is Indy is later on in the year. So it would kind of be hard unless they did it on like an off week but the problem is then the drivers don't have to participate if it's an off week. I think it would be, if we got 2 off weeks a year where it's not a regular Cup Series race, I say you throw a midweek race in just where it's not Cup or Truck Series or Cup or Xfinity, run a midweek race and all the NASCAR drivers should be allowed to participate. I think it'd be great to have, almost like Lucas or Ward Outlaw style, where you have to race your way in. Like if you have a NASCAR license and you're a current driver, I think you should be allowed to drive in. Like you're not allowed to bring a, dirt legend in. Like, if Bobby Pierce doesn't race in NASCAR, can't really hire him to race. I would love to see current Truck Series drivers and current Xfinity Series drivers and current Cup Series drivers race it out. Imagine getting a Truck Series driver beating the Cup Series guys and the Xfinity Series guys on the dirt. It would be kind of cool to see that. I mean, granted, you'd have Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell and Ricky Stenhouse out there, so it's kind of lopsided for the rest of the field. But imagine some guy in the lower series coming up and, kicking the butts of the Cup Series guys. Wouldn't be a bad thing. I mean, let them all race.
It would be interesting.
It'd be cool. I mean, this is just me throwing out ideas at random, but, would be definitely interesting. Back to the in-season tournament. The Cinderella story continues after a little bit of, short track, shenanigans. Ty Dillon has managed to make it to the Final Four. At least I think it's the Final Four. I still can't even wrap my head around this. He beat, Denny Hamlin at Atlanta, which isn't really a shocker because it busted everybody's brackets then. But then he went on to beat Brad Keselowski the very next week, which really wasn't much. It's a road course. But then he meets, some serious competition and Alex Bowman. And he more or less shipped Alex Bowman on the final corner of Sonoma and essentially, pinched him in the wall to beat him to the line, which does create some chaos, and it was actually some good entertainment. Now he's got to take on John Hunter Nemechek, who this week was facing his teammate of Eric Jones. So the final four are Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs, Ty Dillon, and John Hunter Nemechek. And they have Ty Dillon has to beat John Hunter Nemechek to move on. And Tyler Reddick is facing Ty Gibbs. And they're at Dover this week. So I would expect, maybe some Toyota, success. But Ty Dillon is the only Chevy left in the Final Four. All the other three are all Toyotas. So this should be a very interesting finish. And it's definitely a bigger, Cinderella story, because after this, they got to go to Indy. And honestly, if Ty Dillon can beat John Hunter Nemechek, I could see this, going in Ty Dillon's favor, because I really don't think Tyler Reddick is very good at Indy, and neither is Gibbs, because all they've ever raced on, is the road course. So this could definitely play into Ty Dillon's favor. But I guess we'll wait and see what happens. But there's so much chaos in the NASCAR world right now that, my head's spinning thinking about it all. Trying to think if there was anything else I need to cover this week, because I didn't get a chance to write any notes down. I have to go back and see if I can find my prior notes. But another fun fact for the SVG point standings. Somehow he has collected, I believe it's 17 playoff points. I'm looking through my stats in the background, which is pretty impressive given the fact that he's really not good on ovals, and probably most of that has come on road courses. So, could we see SVG, break Jeff Gordon's record and win the pole at Watkins Glen and then win the race? Only time will tell. Trying to see if there's anything else I'm missing. Oof. Sorry, guys. I believe Russ is having technical issues. No, I hear him now.
I'm here. I'm just listening.
You're good. I was trying to think if there was anything else. I don't know was there anything else you saw this week, Russ, that we need to cover?
No, I mean, until tonight's race is over.
I managed to lose my notes. Oh, there is one more I forgot. With SVG and Connor Zilic being in their rookie season, their respective series, a fun fact that I was unaware of: Connor Zilic's average finish is 2.4, which is absolutely astounding to me. That is I believe that's Connor Zilic. That is the average finish when it comes to those two, I believe, which is unreal. That they're always battling each other, and they're going to be on the same team next year, from what I understand. Like, that's just insane. And then also there was a NASCAR 25 update, which I don't know how many people here actually follow that. There will be no split screen multiplayer in the game. So I guess that's not that big of a deal. But there's also going to be no streaming of online lobbies. So for the people who played NASCAR Heat 5, you can't join a lobby and watch them race. You can only, either race in it, but you can't stream it. So it's definitely going to struggle, and that's at least for the first year. They may add that in later, but definitely, I'm going to say a disadvantage to the game, but granted, it is coming from iRacing. For reports I've seen, they're going to have the old school paint booth style. So if anybody remembers the Urban Soft or whatever it was series where they had a full customizable paint booth, kind of like what World Outlaws game has now. I do kind of like that where you can move your the paint booth around. From what I understand, it's gonna be that style paint booth for NASCAR. So that's kind of got me excited because then you can create your own logos and whatnot and artwork. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I talked too much. But I'm definitely excited about the paint booth. I think that's a big bonus. The multiplayer is definitely a little concerning, and I think that's going to hurt sales just a little bit. But I have heard good things about the game. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this most recent update, but they were having drivers test it, and they got overwhelmingly good feedback. There is some features that they're going to address, from what I understand. But I'm definitely getting excited for the game. From what I understand, we should be getting gameplay content within the next month or two. And hopefully soon after that, the game will be released for a little bit more info and be able to play it. I plan to be able to get it when it comes out, so I will have to give you guys my review on it. But that'll come at a later date. But
when is that coming out?
They haven't released a date yet, but the gameplay footage is supposed to be released sometime within the next month or two. They're still in the processing. They haven't given an exact date, but they're expecting within the next month or two. When it comes to the playoff bubble, currently the 4 in are Tyler Reddick by 149 points, Chris Buescher by 34, Alex Bowman is in 15th with 32, and above the cutoff line is Bubba Wallace by 3 points. Below the cutoff on the bubble is Ryan Preece, below by 3. Kyle Busch, which somehow through all this, chaos and him not being able to really finish a race or put a race together, he somehow is 37 back from the cutoff line. AJ Allmendinger is 50 back, and Ty Gibbs, on top of already being in the in-season tournament, is 60 points back. Which is insane to me that he's not only in the playoff hunt, but he's also almost, to the championship round of the in-season tournament. Which baffles me that they've had their struggles. If I remember correctly, the last few years he's done great in the beginning and middle of the year, and fell off toward the end of the year, which almost sounds like a Joe Gibbs curse, because I believe he had that curse last year and earlier last year, and then now Christopher Bell has it. So it's just crazy to me, the struggles that Toyota is going through, and specifically Joe Gibbs Racing has definitely had their struggles in patches over the last few seasons. So
I'll tell you the other thing I've seen people complaining about lately is TNT's broadcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that because they always say the grass is much greener on the other side. So if I complain about TNT, it makes me wonder if it's going to end up like Fox. I'm going to try to complain because I'm going to be thankful that TNT is not Fox. Because if I had to rank the broadcasting this year, Prime definitely set the bar high, which is unfortunate.
I was impressed with theirs.
I personally loved Prime's thing. I was not a fan of it being on there, and I had to retract my comments because they definitely, set the bar really high, and I think our standards were set so high that TNT, when it came back, really wasn't that good. It's disappointing because TNT had some, pretty spot on advertising. I mean, heck, the history of TNT's intro music was absolute fire for the last few years. And now their intro kind of sucks, and their broadcast is, looking more like Fox every week, and that's a scary thought. The fact that Prime and NBC are theoretically going to be the best broadcast partners NASCAR has is kind of an unsettling feeling, because Prime is like the middle portion of the year and NBC ends the year. And it's not a good look right now for TNT and Fox. I mean, Fox just straight up is bad, but TNT definitely is, slacking a little. It's slipping. It's not as good as it has been. They used to be really good, and now it's kind of meh, if that. I'm honestly disappointed with TNT. They've definitely shown some great broadcasts. This year has not been them at all. I mean, it's just very disappointing. I'm very disappointed with TNT this year. I figured they were gonna, set the bar really high, and they just have not.
Oh, here was another news story I forgot all about. Did you see that Kate Blaney actually passed away? I believe that's.
I think I did see that.
That's actually Ryan Blaney's grandmother, and Dave.
I think I did see that. Now that I think about it.
So that was sad to see too. I forgot all about that. So our thoughts and prayers go out to them.
I totally forgot. I think I did see that. So definitely rest in peace to the Blaney family. I feel like I did see that, and it just didn't register what
the whole
it was.
Family? You're gonna tell the whole family to rest in peace?
No,
I'm just being silly.
I feel like I did see that. Sorry, my brain's not all here right now. I will say, and I was looking at stats, and it didn't occur to me till now. Chase Briscoe has put together a pretty solid middle part of the year. If I'm not mistaken, he ran really, really good. Finished second at what looks like Sonoma.
Hey, Roger, what's up? You're late to the party.
Yeah, we're about an hour and 15 minutes in. But let's see, we got Chase Briscoe finishing second.
We're about 10 minutes from SVG. Stop it.
I know. We're getting close. I'm trying to find it again. SVG, beat Chase Briscoe, Sonoma? And then he got him again at, I believe it was it Mexico? Chase Briscoe has finished second. Maybe not. Maybe it was Christopher Bell. Either way, Chase Briscoe has put together a stellar year. I was actually surprised it took so long. But finished second at Pocono earlier this year. I remember that one. Trying to find what other ones. There was no, he did win. Did he? I'm sorry, I misspoke. He beat Denny Hamlin.
Well, come on, Ed, get your shit together.
Sorry, it has been a while for me.
It's no better than what I didn't even realize when I put all this into my prompter that the stupid thing doubled up all my notes. So don't worry about it, man. It happens.
I'm currently realizing how much content I have missed when it comes to this. I know Chase Elliott won Atlanta. I completely forgot that Chase Briscoe won Pocono. But I mean, July has been the month of SVG so far. Now, granted, I will absolutely lose my mind if he wins Dover and Indy, because then that doesn't even seem realistically or physically possible for SVG. But you never know. With him rattling off road courses, I guess they can pull a rabbit out of a hat anytime. I am kind of curious to see how this season's going to play out for him, because he's got 3 wins already, and we're only, what, 1, 2, 3, we're 4 races away from the next road course. So I could see Joey Logano winning, Iowa if he gets lucky again. Dover, I think, is going to be a Toyota driver. I hate to say it, but probably Denny Hamlin. And Indy, I'm not sure, because I know this is the first year that Indy is going back to the oval that I can think of. And I don't know how to react, because it's been a while since we've seen the oval with, NASCAR. Like the last few years, we ran the road course. I don't know how I feel about these next gen cars on the oval. I mean, they're fast, but it's definitely something interesting. And I think it's gonna be another wild card race, because Hendrick has had history there, Ford has had good history there, but at the same time, there is no real clear winner, I guess. Like, I'm going to call that as a wild card, as I don't know what that's going to be. But I think Dover will be Toyota, and Iowa will be a repeat winner for somebody. But then we go to Watkins Glen. It's just going to be SVG or another road course ringer if he screws up. And then with that, there's only 2 races before the playoffs. We are literally, a month away, a little over a month away from playoffs starting. Crazy to think how much this series has gone by, or how much fast this year's gone by. And we have 6 races until the playoffs? Yeah, 6 races until the playoffs start at Darlington.
Yeah, so we're almost there, man.
We're almost there, and I understand Kyle Larson is still top of the standings. Realistically, unless Hendrick gets, a team effort together, I don't really see, I mean, I guess Kyle Larson did win last year on the oval, so I didn't think about that. So possibly Hendrick for Indy. But then again, you've got Kyle Larson going to 4. If SVG wins Watkins Glen, that's 4. They've passed Denny Hamlin at that point. So it's a very, I guess, an improbable, regular season championship battle may come down to. So I don't know. I know that I should probably start wrapping this up soon.
So, no, it's not a big deal. We covered a lot of stuff, man. But my biggest thing is that accident at Attica. Our
definitely a scary one.
Our thoughts and prayers are still with Kalib Henry, and even though he is doing better, we wish him a speedy recovery, and we cheer on his return, man. We root for him to make a comeback. It's one hell of a wheel, man. And I'm just excited to see him come back. But I hope he takes his time and gets well, like he should, rather than making it too fast. So, Kalib, we miss you, man. We're glad that you're okay, but please take your time and get well so we can watch you continue to wheel the crap out of those cars, buddy. So keep up the good work, man.
One more thing before we close out. I don't know if anybody else has seen this, but Chase Briscoe's hauler broke down. I believe it was in Wyoming. And currently they are still trying to get his hauler back from Colorado because they had it repaired and it broke down again. So definitely going to be a short week for the 19 crew, or a short turnaround, I should say. So good luck to them getting everything turned around. And if I see any more updates, I will keep you guys posted.
Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Switching Grooves. So what do you think, Nathan?
I think it's about time to wrap it up. I'm getting tired.
Well, until next time, keep your right foot heavy and your elbows up, because in racing, every lap is a chance to make history.
So with Switching Grooves, I'm Nathan Johns.
And I'm Russ Fritz saying race hard.
Stay safe.
And we'll see you there. Good night,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.